Rakatay How, Rakatay How Shah, Rakatay How, Rakatay How Shah, Rakatay How, Rakatay How Shah. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, Bashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and brethren while pushing this truth. And all praise to Yahweh, who the enemy calls God, and to his son Yahweh Shah, who the enemy calls Jesus Christ. Hashem Kakadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. So you have in Genesis the identifiable adversary of Jacob and God's chosen people. And an Satan means adversary. Satan means adversary. And so this is what the story of Genesis 25:23 is all about. Verse 23 of Genesis 25, it says, And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 1 people shall be stronger than the other people. The key prophecy of the whole Bible. And the elder shall serve the younger. And so the elder is Esau, Edom, and they gotta serve Jacob, the younger. And so when you get to 27, it tells you how this process is gonna happen. Because 27, the subtitle says the stolen blessing, but we know this blessing wasn't stolen. It was given away by Esau because he didn't appreciate the blessing. He didn't appreciate what he couldn't see with his own eyes. And so it became Jacob's blessing, but he eventually got a blessing along with Jacob's blessing. And his blessing was earthly. When you go to Genesis 27:39, it's saying Isaac, his father, meaning Esau's father, answered and said unto him, Blessed thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. So he said, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness or the richness of the earth. He will be rich on the earth and have, well, let's get that, the rest of it, and of the dew of heaven from above. So his kingdom, he will have the kingdom that's above all other kingdoms. And so verse 40 tells you how he's going to get it. He said, And by thy sword thou shalt live. So he was going to get this kingdom by bloodshed and warfare. And so when you go to the rest of the verse, it say, And shall serve thy brother. But it didn't change it didn't change the fact that he was going to have to serve Jacob. Even in his blessing, he was going to have to serve Jacob. But it says it's going to come to pass in the time period of his blessing that he's going to get the rulership or the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So he's going to break the yoke that Jacob is going to put on him, off of him. And that's what King David had the children of Edom in submission, and King Solomon had them in submission for a short period of time, and then the kingdom eventually went right back to them with the Greeks, the Romans, and now these British and American peoples. And so the rulership is that Esau would have the first rulership, and Jacob would have the second rulership and everlasting rulership. Esau would have the first and short rulership. So when you understand that, then you can understand what he's talking about. Now let's get some other precepts to back up that Esau has the rulership. Then you go to Job chapter 9. And mind you, Job is in the land of Edom, because Uz was one of Esau's sons. And when you go to Lamentations chapter 4 verse 21, it tells you that the Edomites dwelled in the land of Uz. But when you go to Job chapter 9, it says 9:24, it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the Edomites was ruling the whole earth. So they was ruling the whole earth, and the earth was given into them. And so it goes on to say that he, as in the Edomites, covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So they was going to be the only people to cover the faces of the judges. And in 26, give you some more detail. Let's start at 25. It say, now my days are swifter than a post, and they flee away. They see no good. 26, they are passed away as swift ships, as the eagle hasteneth to the prey. So the eagle also represents the nation of Edom, and they was gonna take the nation of Israel into captivity with swift ships. Because when you go to Deuteronomy 28 verse 50, it describes a nation from afar swifter than an eagle flieth. And then in 68 of that 28th chapter, it talks about that they would take the Israelites into captivity with ships and sell them to one another for slave man and slave woman. And so that's why we know that these Edomites is the adversary of the Israelites. Because the first prophecy, when they was in the womb, it said that they would have to serve their younger brother when it's all said and done. And Apostle Paul restated this in Romans chapter 9. It says, 9 and 11, it says, for the children being not yet born, meaning they was inside the stomach, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So when they was in the stomach, Paul talking like me, exactly the same thing I'm saying. When they was in the stomach, God had a purpose for these two children, that they was both gonna have a rulership, and one, the younger, was gonna rule after the older. The elder was gonna get the first rulership, and that's how things supposed to go. The elder gets the blessing first. He gets the inheritance first, and then the younger comes and gets the inheritance. And so Paul quoted that. He said, and it was said to her, the elder shall serve the younger. So the elder was going to get the blessing first, and the younger was going to get the blessing afterwards. And it said in verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That means he going to give Jacob the everlasting blessing and make them the priesthood, his priesthood. And so that's who these Edomites are. And they named themselves white. In 1681, they start calling themselves white. They never called themselves white before. Certain individuals would name a landmass after themselves, or they would come and take over other people's nationalities, like the Grecians. They took over the Grecians. That was Japheth's children. They took over their land and started calling themselves Grecian. In Rome, the Romans was a Japheth, dark complexion people. they went into Rome and took that over. You see, because they fled out of the African countries and went up into the mountains way back during Job's day. Because Job said they fled into the clefts of the rocks, meaning they fled to the mountain. And so these individuals started calling themselves white in 1681 because they started to understand that they got the Israelites in captivity, especially the elites of the people, especially like the Pope and the religious leaders. They understood that they was banishing the Israelites out of all of their lands and putting them into captivity. And so once that decree went out, ain't no telling what the Pope might have had a vision from God, and God might have told him, you can go put these Israelites into captivity. They done broke the laws. You can take over now. You never know what the Pope was given. But either way it goes, in 1492, that's when they took over. And the Renaissance, where the Edomites was back on top, ruling their kingdom and was receiving their blessing. But it was going to be for a short period of time. That's what Revelation 20 is about. And Revelation 20 tells you that Satan the devil, came out of the bottomless pit, the bottomless land. You see, because when you look at the Old English, they speak backwards. When you say bottomless, that means you're not at the bottom, you're at the top. You not at the bottom. You at the top, meaning like when they say less and they put bottom, meaning it's a less chance that you're gonna be at the bottom. You at the top of the map. And pit means land in the Bible. So they was at the north, in the north countries. They was coming out of those countries to rule. And they was gonna rule over the Israelites for a short period of time. And so that's the rulership we're in. We're in the Edomites rulership. Satan, the adversary, the devil, the deceiver, that the Bible speak of. So I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.